What's up, fuckers? Alright, so this is video 4 of our Cadillac Escalade build. But before we get too deep into that, as you may have seen on Instagram, we have our laser now. So I want to show you guys that, and then I'm going to show you what we're working on the Cadillac. Let me flip the camera around and I'll show you. Hell yeah. Finally. It's not the real big one, but this one will get it done. So we got our water chiller over here, air pump back there, exhaust mounted back there. I still need to run the dust collection to it, but I'm not real sure how important that is. I need to do some testing, figure it out. But thanks to Laguna Tools for getting this out to us. Thing's freaking awesome, man. All right, anyway, back to the Caddy. We got our piece in from Bobby Gately over at Gately Audio. He made this on his laser and his CNC machine. It's got the logos etched in. And we have this channel in here that's going to be for our LED lights and make this whole thing light up, the edge and our logos and everything. So what I wanted to do on this Cadillac is I wanted to build some layers. So we have our back piece here, and we're going to have a cover over this whole thing, but we're going to have a section around these amps cut out more for like decoration type of thing, just to kind of make it look cool, you know. So I wanted to do it in layers. So this nice acrylic piece we got from Bobby, I'm going to use that as our center layer and kind of sandwich it between two more pieces of plywood. So the bottom one, I want to have the same color as this, which is also the same color as the box we got from Bobby. So the middle layer will be the acrylic layer with our logo. We'll have the Gately logo here and the Sinister logo right here. And then the next layer is going to be like a brushed aluminum finish that's also red. Kind of bring the exterior color into the build. That's also why we did the red behind the honeycomb mesh there. So that will be our 3-layer process on that part. So the very, very top is actually going to have a panel that will cover this entire thing. So if somebody wants to go to the grocery store or what have you, they'll be able to put that panel in there and completely enclose it. So that's the thing. So what I thought we would do on the bottom layers, I wanted to make it a little bit bigger than the acrylic layer. And then of course we'll put a chamfer on it and stain it the same color as the amp rack in the box. And then the other layer, it's going to go above that but below the main deck of the amp rack. I got this stuff here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a brushed aluminum finish. It's a vinyl. So the last layer will be another piece of 3/4 plywood, and it's going to be wrapped in that stuff. And it'll be a little bit smaller than this acrylic layer. They're just enough to cover up these screws and let our logos stick out nice and clean. So hang tight and we'll get this piece cut and keep moving forward. All right, so this is where we're at. We have built a couple of pieces. One piece here that's going to be stained to match. Same with this top layer. And it's got this layer of acrylic sandwiched in between, just like we had talked about. One of the features about this build that I really enjoy the most is we've recessed this top layer down. This is the deck that the enclosure will fit on, but we're going to have a panel that's going to fit in here that'll sit flush, that'll hide all of this, and all this stuff lights up with LEDs and everything like that. I haven't quite got to that point yet, but today we're going to move on to the doors. So as you can see, I've already got this door panel off and the sail trim. super easy. There's 2 7mm bolts down there inside the pull cup, and then there is one inside the handle release, and then there's 2, you can't really see them right now, but there's 2 at the bottom. I'll show you here on the door they go. There's one there and there's one there, and then it just unsnaps. Super easy. You have this. They finally got smart and did these with quick release, so they're nice and easy to get off. One plug for everything. How cool is that? So we've got everything done here on the cell trim. You have 2 pieces. This goes on here like so. It's just a trim, and it just kind of like hooks onto the back of it with these tabs. Pulled that off, pulled the tweeter out. It snapped in there from the back. So we're gonna reuse this portion of it to house our new tweeter. We just have to make a couple modifications to it. Shouldn't be too tough, and then we can put it back on there and it'll look pretty much stock, which is kind of the idea. We have an adapter that we're going to change out that 6x9 and go with a 6.5, and then on the back of the door panel we have a spot. Our 3.5 is going to go there, right there. Just gonna have to make some modifications on that as well. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, but that's where we're at for the moment. Then we gotta build a bracket in here for the crossover to go. Shouldn't be too difficult, but hang tight with us, guys, and we'll get some more of that done. All right, we got a couple things done. So I made these little brackets for our tweeter on our laser. Bolts in the factory location, fits beautifully. Also, moving over to the door, put a second tweeter in that location with a red accent background. Just made a new plate for the tweeter to mount in. I'll show you what that little turd looks like. So it's pretty simple. Took a piece of paper, right? Cut the shape to fit, cut it out. This is before anything's done to it. We've got to drill a couple holes and cut a hole out for the tweeter and put our red background on it. The finished product comes out like this one. Nice and clean. And this is the wire for that. We will solder an extension on it to make it down to the crossover. And that's about where we are for now. We've got some adapters for the 6x9 to 6.5 coming. And then we're gonna make a little bracket to go inside the door for the crossover. Tie in all the tweeters and the 6.5. And then we have another speaker we have to put there in the corner of the dash. But we'll get to that here soon. Hang with us. Okay, moving on to the rear door. Super easy to get these off as well. Just use a little pick to pop this little cover plate off, and there's one 7mm in there. Same for down in here. This one had a broke one. I'm assuming somebody had cross-threaded it at one time. But there's also a little plate that goes over there. You just use a little pick and pop it right off. And then there's one on the bottom right there, all 7mm. And then it's just a matter of unsnapping it and pulling it off. And that's about it on this one. Just hang with me and we'll get this panel taken off, and then we'll go from there. Okay, making room for the tweeter and the back door. So this was the stock location for the tweeter. I had to make a few modifications to make it fit. It was like a molded little pocket for it to sit in, but we went ahead and trimmed all that out. Made it where it'll screw in like normal. It's nice and it's tight now. And then this trim piece that goes over it, factory, it'll still fit. Just had to cut the back of it out Now it sits nice and flat and it's super tight, so shouldn't have any rattles or anything like that. So we will get this put back together and move on to the other side. All right, so the goal for today is we are going to get the control center part of this build wired up and operating. So what that means is here in the console we have our voltage gauge and our temperature gauge, and the temperature gauge is going to trigger our fans and turn those on and off. And we also have inside the center console here, we have our voltage regulator, our fan E controller, and a couple switches for some lights. So what I decided to do was put a power and ground down there in the bottom so we can run all of the little wires to that, and then we're going to run power from the back, and that should give us enough spaces to run all of our little components that we need to run up here. So we've got our RCAs here for the base knob. We've got our cable here for the fan. We've got our wire from the alternator for the voltage regulation. And this one, which I need to run to the back, is our temperature sensor for the SMD-TM1. So hang with me and we'll get some more wiring done. All right, what's up, y'all? So I made a couple of changes, nothing too big. I thought I might put a layer in between these two, but I just thought it'd be, you know, red on top of red and more red, so I decided to just do the 3 layers. So there's a layer under here that's chamfered back, then the acrylic layer that has the logos like we talked about, and then the top deck. Now I recessed this down to allow us to put a blank panel in here to kind of hide all of this. That way customer wants to go grocery shopping or whatever, they can put groceries there or whatever. So the subwoofer box will go right there, and that'll be one of our next things. We have a couple more wires to run. We need to run the wires for the amplifier for the doors, and once that's done, then we can fasten this deck down and put the subwoofer enclosure in. So like I mentioned before, the lights up on this end, and let's walk around to the center. Yeah, you see it lights up the same on this side too. Also, we have our console control center done, looking good. So the 2 switches there will be for the lights back there that I just showed you. The one with the red LED digital readout, that's for the fans. This one here, and that one over there is our voltage regulator for our alternator. Obviously this is factory. It's 2 USB ports and then our SD card slot. That way if you want to update your navigation, he still has the ability to do that. We also have our temperature gauge there on the right and our voltage gauge on the left, and we centered the remaining USB ports there in the center. So we should be getting this put together tomorrow and the next day. Should be able to give this back to the customer on Thursday. We've got our Sinister base knob with voltage readout. These things are sweet, man. I got them numbered too. So the customer requested number 7, so he gets number 7. All right. So when we come back, we will have the wires ran for the doors and the subwoofer box. We're going to start putting that in. So hang tight with us, guys, and we will get that done. All right. So we got the subwoofer enclosure in. It's all fastened down. Got the Gately Audio 12s installed. Oh yeah. Cannot wait to hear those things. So everything back here is complete. Looking good. So really, I guess not totally complete. I still have to build this cover panel. We want to be able to put a panel here, so if you have to go to the grocery store or put your gym bag or whatever, you don't mess any of this other stuff up. So I do have one more panel to build for back here, but that's a minor thing. It's really not that big of a deal at all. Let's take a look at the front. Looks really cool from this direction too. Kind of blocks everything off. Super nice. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this video, guys. We do have one more video that I intend to do. It's going to entail some tuning and a complete walk around of everything that we've done to this truck. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a whole lot. And we really appreciate the support that we've been getting. It's just been really amazing. So hang tight, guys. Video 5 coming soon. Later.